All right.
So we have did we get a motion to approve the minutes with that change?
I
So,
make a
okay.
motion that we approve them.
Okay, John makes the motion. We had a typo,
Right.
and then we had a refrigerator that we thought was a ballot box.
I thought ballot box.
So we have a motion by John, we have a second, is that you?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. We'll move on to the secretary's report.
I'd like to bring up that I, did a little bit of work and passed it on to Bill, trying to streamline and organize his reports so they would be kind of follow place month after month. So I don't know whether you're gonna do it or not, but,
Well, that's gotta be up, kind of up to the board, I think, if they want my information in there. Because this is my minutes are to the board, and if they want, that into the minutes, then that's good.
what I did was, just so that we could summarize what has been done, what needs to be done per park each time. Anyway,
That would be appropriate. He's detailing his so that we have a consistent running record of all the activities that are happening. So that's gonna be a separate record, that we will have, and we will, Bill, if I'm correct me on this, we will have a year-end report on that we will actually approve, I guess, at maybe the January meeting after December.
and that's essentially what I was trying
Oh,
to do,
okay.
is summarize all his stuff into a year end.
Right.
So anyway, we'll discuss it some more and
Sure.
we can decide what he wants to do with it.
You can actually make this as an amendment or an addendum to your actual minutes so that you wouldn't even have to do anything but say, refer it to his detailed report.
Can I put in for a secretary, please?
And then the other thing that I've tried to summarize for a year end that I can report in January would be, a lot of, public comments and stuff that, things that we need to get to, whether it's gonna take special meetings to come to consensus, because we don't seem to make time for it at the regular meetings with all the other business. But, so I'll have that summarized, and I'll just send it to you guys, to you, Terry, and we'll go from there.
That'll work. Anything else, Hilda?
That's it.
Okay. We usually approve the secretary's report, I can't remember. Okay, we'll move on then to the treasurer's report. And who's giving the treasurer, Carol?
You look at your banking information, this is what came off your actual bank statements that we receive every month, it's at the end of the month. In your checking account, you can see you have $32,178.08 in your checking, regular checking. In the membership account, we are still starting to see some activity, people are starting to send in their $150 deposits, and several of those came in, as you can look further down, is electronic deposits, some came in as hard copy check deposits. So those we're trying to still maintain and keep that separate, so 23 memberships are still going into the membership account, and for the first time, we begin the beginning of the year, and we'll transfer those funds over as they are needed to do the projects. And our savings reserves account still maintains the $50,000, and that's an emergency fund for things that may have happened throughout. So we have a grand total, including our reserves, of $84,733.58. Checks and drafts that came out this month, total to expenditures was $9,149.41, and that's not actual money that we spent, that's just money that cleared the bank, checks that were written previously in October, plus any November, and, checks that are still coming through. So I don't want you to get confused and think, oh, we spent $9,000 this month, we actually didn't. When you look over on the back side of the page, you'll see your P&L for the month. Anyway, we did have, a little bit of interest accrued. So there you go, you've got your deposits of $23,08.59 coming into the account, and that'll reflect on the back side as well as you look at it. You'll see where we had income coming in, $2 for bylaws, the Stopples. Now this $600 coming in for Stopples is, as you know from Vonda, that This is money where people are actually buying property here, and the title companies are charging them the $100, which we're now using that for your funds for all your nice activities and stuff, so we're keeping it as a separate line item, so that you'll be able to know when you're using your funds. And of course, then your regular expenses are all there. It looks, it shows as a negative amount at the bottom, but that's just because you don't have a beginning balance at the beginning of the month, you're just going forward, this is just your individual items.
Okay, is that your report, Carol? Okay, any board members have any questions of Carol on the finance report and or expenditures? So not hearing anything, yes, Tom?
The $150 that we're gonna have to do, has that been publicized?
Yes, it has.
On the web, I guess.
And that's what's coming in.
We don't have a newsletter anymore, or?
There's one going out in January.
Okay.
So are there any more questions of the treasurer? Okay, we could entertain a motion to approve the finance report and expenditures for November.
Approve it, or I do a motion to approve the treasury report for November.
Second.
The motion is second, Sammy and Charlie. Any discussion on the finance report? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the president's report. Terry?
Okay, I went on that, to talk about, we will be getting our keys shortly, so we're gonna set up a key day for the third Saturday, which will be January the 21st. Okay. Also, we would like to talk about the late fee. People seem to be taking a long time, if they don't wanna come to the courts till May, then they don't pay till May. So I would like to make the late fee after the 31st, $25, and if they wait till after February, $50, because I'm doing keys all year long, because people ain't paying.
Okay, so that's a recommendation then from the president to the board to consider.
You mean they're getting the key, excuse me,
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
they're getting the key, but they hadn't paid?
No, they're waiting until they wanna use the keys and then pay, and I'm doing keys all year long.
Full-time job.
It's a pain, but I used to do it.
It's
So I
Pretty much a
figure it's an
there's
incentive for them to pay.
Yeah.
No
pretty much an
time.
early season for keys, but it's just kind of, there was some proposals at one time that, they would cut all registration off after a certain period. The board did not want to do that, but it is a significant amount of work for those who are having to make these keys and line
Can
up
we
these
put
folks. So,
something, can we put something in the newsletter stating that, hey,
yes,
you have until the end of January to get your keys, and there will be no more, or February, or something like that?
no, we're not gonna, I don't think we wanna do that. I think we discussed and debated that. I don't think we wanna cut off, but if you wanna do that, then it should have a substantial penalty.
Well,
What is it now? What's it now?
$15.25.
Well, really and truly, your membership is just your membership to an HOA, so you, whether you get keys or not, you're
Correct.
paid, you're trying to, the whole, part of this organization is to maintain our income and have that, and the $150 is because you live here. The keys are a bonus that you get so really and truly, membership should be paid at the very beginning of the year, and if you're late, then and in this deposit that I made this week, I noticed that there were several people that just now paid $25 for their 22 dues. And it's kinda like we've been giving them a pro-rate. Those are the new people?
Yes.
Okay, well, they're new people, that's fine, but I'm thinking, if there's people out there that are waiting till the end of the year to pay some dues and think they're gonna get a discount because they wait later in the year, I don't think that's not right.
He just renewed a couple weeks ago, he paid $125 just to have the keys for 1 month out of the year.
So I really believe they need to pay at
So-
the beginning of the year.
So are there any other thoughts about, the proposal to raise the, fee?
why couldn't we do a two-day key, one in January and one in right
We
before
did- we
the
did-
season
we
and
did the
then let
second
that
one
be
last
it.
time.
And-
And not do any mailing,
And, huh?
and not do any mailing, is what you prefer?
One calling the keys.
Instead of him.
Then I'll give it up for another one.
Well, that was another thing that we revamped.
Yeah, but we did have a, key day, 2 key days last year.
We're gonna say
Key day.
on membership, is there a place there if you wanna pick them up or do you want yours mailed? Some people just automatically wanna mail, some people wanna pick them up that day. But it gives them an option to mail without having to make another phone call.
Make sure you usually tag.
Good move.
I don't know.
Look at your taxes.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'll tell you, Vonda had to help me, I mean, I'm buying a house right now, and my membership into this organization, that was part of what they wanted to know on my loan, is when do I have to pay it, and how much is it, you know, and I said, well, so I had to get her to go ahead and invoice me to prove to my mortgage company, because this is an expense that's coming out of my pocket, and January, my money's gotta be paid. Because I've told them that's what I was gonna do, so, I think everybody should have to pay their HOA, this is an HOA. You pay your dues at the beginning of the year. Keys is an bonus, that's why some people have properties,
We have
because
a-
they want to keep.
We have a system in place. The proposal is to raise that, penalty fee.
So, January 31st is 25.
It's just like, we just changed the amount, so it's the same dates that we're in
$50.
before.
That's what the proposal is.
Yeah, the dates are the same, just
And of course, we'll hear any hardship case.
What if we just have two or three key days? And by God, you better make one of them if you wanna keep.
We have a lot of people that don't live here.
Yeah,
It is-
that's hard to do.
Well, they're gonna come here sometime.
Yeah, that's when they call Terry and say, hey, I'm gonna be there next weekend, can you make me up some keys?
That's why we-
Mom,
So-
yes,
so-
making up
so-
keys.
So they don't put it off, that's why they're looking to get a start with this penalty and just raise it, so.
Right.
All right, we'll try this year and see what happens.
So do you have a thought?
Huh?
Kathy?
Right, no.
Yeah, okay.
I like it, I
Okay.
think it's fair. We
Okay.
can reword it so we can hear it all again, the dates.
Okay.
Yeah, motion, somebody can do the motion.
Yeah, somebody have to make a motion.
First, it'll be $25 late fee, after February 28th, it'll be a $50 late fee.
Okay, you've heard the proposal. Do we have, any more discussion? Someone want to make a motion? Yeah. Yeah, Jesse.
So I just noticed that our legal documents filed at the courthouse, we have two sets. We have our covenants and deed restrictions, and then we have our bylaws. The covenants and deed restrictions lay out a mandatory membership of $25.
Right.
Then, in our bylaws, it says if you wanna be a member in good standings, which is a second classification of a member,
Right.
and get the keys, then it is whatever the assessments that you guys have assessed us this year, I guess, $150.
Right.
So, cause I do some realty out here, and I've also had realtors ask me, how come it's not the 25, that's the mandatory, and then if they want the keys, it's 100, I can't explain that to them. Are we gonna change
If
it
you
to
want
where?
to explain it to you, if it was 25, at the end of the day, we wouldn't be operating.
No, I'm talking about, so you're saying that
We
keys
voted
come
on
with
that.
the membership. I'm talking, and I was talking to Chairman, you're saying the keys come with the membership. So therefore, if you're charging everybody a membership fee the same rate, you have to send everybody a set of keys. And if they don't pay for those keys,
No.
they don't pay their membership dues, then you put the liens on their properties and stuff.
Okay.
But there's also.
Thank you for your point, so go ahead, Bob.
But there's also somewhere that says, that can be changed by the board of directors
Yes,
at
I
any
definitely
time,
know that.
which it has been.
And it has been.
Okay, so,
Doesn't have to be recorded with the courthouse.
Mr. Trammell,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, if it hasn't already been made, that we follow through with, as it's been explained, related to the increases in penalties, and the
dates.
dates,
Times, okay.
and all of that. If it needs to be explained again, I guess we could do
We
that.
had two dates, 25 and 50, January 31 and February, what was the other date? 28?
And then that's my motion.
Do we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Second by Johns, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Terry, do you have anything else?
Okay, I got one more thing. When we have trouble with members at a park and we penalize them that they're not allowed in the park, members in good standing should not be allowed to bring them in.
Okay, so you're proposing that if someone is,
Made to leave the park because they show out or whatever, just because the members in good standing are not be able to bring them in.
right,
Otherwise, why are we sitting at that gate, making sure people behave and do what they're supposed to do, if they could just walk in with somebody else later on?
very good point.
Do we,
So the bottom line is if the board takes an action to remove a person's membership
yeah,
and places in membership not in good standing,
Yeah.
they can still be, an owner. You're proposing that, no one should be able to bring a person not in good standing, in the park as a guest. And that's the point that you're
yeah,
making.
yeah,
Certainly not.
but it's happening.
It has happened, that's correct, and we're going through a little bit of this right now, we have one here tonight that we banned from the board, person's playing a little legal game with us, and we're gonna get through that eventually.
Okay.
So we will get through that because we have folks working on it, so, if that is a proposal, then a board member would need to, restate that clearly, so that we know that any agency or any legal entity knows that this board's position is such that when we ban a person because of conduct or safety or whatever the reason is, that person is not allowed to be on the property, and no member who is in good standing could invite them as a guest to the property. So we want to make sure that it's very clear, and it's in our minutes, and that we will use that when we go forward, we're going forward in our case. So that's what you have. So is there a board member that wants to?
I have
Yeah.
a question.
I'm not gonna recognize you, okay, so thank you. Go ahead. Mr.
Why is
Trammell.
my membership revoked?
Go ahead, Mr. Trammell.
Mr. Chairman,
On what-
I move
on what
that,
grounds is my
a
re-
member
membership
who
revoked?
has been determined by the board of directors to be not in good standing shall not have the authority to authorize anyone, to enter the parks or recreation areas, which includes ramps, and any of the areas under the control of TREPO.
Real Estate Property Owners
Yes.
Association, okay. Common property, okay, that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Does everyone understand what the motion is? Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion, but can just.
Some more clarity?
More clarity on that a little bit.
Go ahead, Tom.
What we're saying here is that if and this is correct, once you purchase property here, technically you are a member. Technically, you are required to pay a membership, which has been established by the board of directors. If you fail to pay that membership, then you are determined then to be a member not in good standing. So the motion is that if you are a member not in good standing, then you will have no authority and shall have no authority to authorize anyone to enter the parks or the recreation areas or the property that is managed by TREPO, which includes the ramps.
But what she was saying is for people that are, disciplined, they're coming in with other people. That's not what you're saying there. I think we need to read,
So you
redo
didn't say
that,
that.
because other people
Well, I
in
think what
good
I said.
standings are bringing them in.
Right, a member of good standing.
There's a
Member of
difference
good
in not bringing
standing.
somebody who's been told.
It's a
That, I was
difference
just
between
wanting him
good-
to, straighten his words out where he knew,
Yeah.
you
I think what I said to start with was that, as determined by the board, that if a person, is determined to be a member not in good standing, and which would include, someone, a member who is not authorized to go on the property, the parks or ramps, then they can't in turn authorize someone else, to go.
Under the
But they
guise
can't
as
be-
a, under the guise as
They
a
can't be a
guest.
guest.
Under the guise
Okay.
of yes.
And please understand the reason for
Yes.
this, the board's charged with the responsibility of ensuring the
Right.
safety of the parks based on the conduct and behavior of those that trespass on the property. So with that going forward, we have that responsibility, we have to ensure that.
Right.
We're going through a little bit of a phase right now where we're trying to get the basis of this established because we're being challenged a little bit based on what our position was and what we voted on. That'll soon be resolved and, folks will be arrested and they will be removed from properties. So, but we've gotta go through these steps right now. Go ahead.
Can I have a quick question concerning those issues, any type of issue like that? There is a problem when like for instance, if I have come across a person that is, I try to educate them, I tell them about the rules, I try to do this and it doesn't follow through very well. And so I asked an officer to come and remove that person from the park because, whatever reason. And, the reasons what you gave me allowed me to do. But the problem is the board, I may not see the board for 3 or 4 weeks after that issue. Now, I may talk to my supervisors, but if there's a issue where the board, safety or otherwise, is not gonna meet for another month, this same person is gonna have the availability to come in the parks. During that 4-week period, and let's say it's, it could be anything, it could be, drugs, alcohol, anything, just being around kids and not acting properly or whatever.
I think in our discussions with, what the responsibility for the park manager is that you have to first take safety to the highest level. That's not anything that we wait on.
Right. That's right.
And certainly you're compelled to immediately make a call to the president or the chairman, and we have to act on that immediately. So that actually can supersede, anything else. I mean, that's the responsibility we have to ultimately take immediately. With that being said, now going forward, we've had an incident where the sheriff's office was a little weak and wouldn't respond to the board. We're trying to clarify that tonight to get our position fully understood as we go forward. If that doesn't, if this doesn't work in this particular case, we'll go to the next level. And we've already made contact with the next level and they're waiting for us if that doesn't happen.
I'm just fearful of the fact if, this person gets upset and, goes farther and does enter the parks in an
Right.
upset manner.
Right.
And, the board has not made a ruling on this.
This is the purpose of this, but we're always gonna use best practice, if you understand. So, Mr. Trainer?
Yeah, I just wanna make, this clear, and I know I've had a lot of experience with this, so I know what I'm saying here. This property is not public property.
Right.
It's private property.
Everybody else?
It is under the authority of the TREPO board, which is duly elected, established for the purpose of overseeing the parks, the ramps, all of those properties that we have management authority over. If you have a home and you order someone off that property, it's your property. And if you call the sheriff should respond, and the sheriff should order that person off the property. If they fail to leave, they can be charged with trespass after warning. If they leave and come back, the sheriff can be called and they can be charged with trespass after warning. In this case, for whatever reason, the sheriff failed to take, in my opinion, the appropriate action. However, we can not necessarily circumvent, but we can go to another source, which is the state attorney's office, and we can formally file a complaint against whatever person, whoever it is, that's violated this trespass warning. Just like we could go to the sheriff. So our authority is absolute. We have authority to regulate the conduct on these parks and these ramps. And it's our responsibility, not just our authority, it's our responsibility to ensure the safety of those who go there and the well-being of people who go there. And we've got kids, we've got families, and we don't have to put up with some of the stuff that goes on there. And we can exclude people if we choose to do so. And we should, So I just want it understood, it's not like, well, I'm a member, or I'll pay this or that, and I can go in. No, you can as long as you are a member in good standing and you conduct yourself in a way that's respectful to others. But if you don't, then you gotta go. And that's the way I view it. And I think that we did everything right here, and unfortunately, maybe the sheriff's not the way that we need to go here, so we can do two things. One, we can pursue this through the state attorney's office as a criminal matter, or two, we can go to our attorney and file a petition for basically the same thing as a trespass warning, would be an order that would exclude the person from his property. So there's options, but I just want it clear that the board has this authority. Don't think for 1 second that we don't. And just because the sheriff says, well, I don't know, we're gonna have to see about this or whatever, believe me, I did it too many times. And so I know that you have the authority to do it. So I just want,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, to make that
and also
clear.
the other point too is if a member was to give their key to someone else, and maybe someone not in good standing to come to part, they would stand a chance, if this board so ruled, to lose, that would be very good grounds to lose your
Yes.
membership.
Well, my motion is the same, and I think that if it needs to be restated, is this the way you want to?
Well, I mean, that just kinda explains it, you can add.
Does anybody have any, did we get a second? I don't know if we did.
You know, I apologize, but
I did.
you did get a second, that's
Oh,
right,
you
Tom.
did.
Tommy Matthews.
Okay, so the motion stands. I don't guess it needs any clarification, then, right?
No,
Willie, you got it,
now.
you got that?
I got it.
Okay. Willie's got it, so.
That's what I was just determining that, you know.
Okay.
Just make sure.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, on the motion in the second? Not hearing you, would call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Can there be any discussion on that,
Discussion,
At the end.
on the motion?
well, the board voted for the motion. Do you have something you'd like to add? I'll be glad to listen to your comment.
I've had my hand.
I'm sorry, I didn't say I was kind of focused here, Joe. What you got?
We're going to suspend keys for, behavior, correct?
Joan, let me just explain. The board, did an investigation
Yeah.
of an incident and had issues with that incident. The board discussed it on
Is there
multiple
supportive
occasions.
evidence? Do we have supportive evidence?
The board's already had the investigation and taken action, and it's over. They're not gonna,
Did it go to the DBPR?
if someone wants to file an appeal against this board for an action that we've taken, it's well within their rights to do so. This
Well,
board acted on the safety of our parks based on the rules
the
that we have.
safety of our parks. So are we determining the safety of our parks and behavior by this board?
I'm not gonna sit here
I'm
and,
curious.
Joan, if, the board determines that actions in our park do not meet the standards of the association related to safety, conduct,
So if I don't like the music you're playing,
that's not.
and it's loud, and it's verbally unpleasing to me, who is a Christian,
Uh-huh.
then they should be barred.
Well, I don't know about that. We have this problem all over the country right now, so we're gonna move on with this action, but the board's taking action, and we will, thank you, John.
I think you might.
Terry, you have anything else? Okay, who's gonna speak on the Christmas yard?
Christmas extravaganza?
Yeah.
Oh, it went really well.
I think there was a lot of work, there was an awful lot of work involved in that.
Well, I wanna thank,
Brag on yourself.
I wanna thank everybody that helped out, 'cause we really had a lot of volunteers that
We
stepped
did.
up to the plate this time.
Hey, I want some candy.
And I really think our golf parade is better than the one that
It
had
was a
four
breeze, I
wives.
think, we had 3 times as many volunteers, it went really
It was
well.
fun.
It was good fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, then we will, move on to the park manager's quick report.
Much abbreviated.
Sure, okay. Some of it we just talked about, and educating the public, our members about what's going on. Gates are getting locked more, but there's still a problem, but if members would just, if they drive by, go ahead and lock the gate, even if somebody's in there. Don't ask them if they have a key, you don't have to get involved with it or anything like that. Lock the gate, if they get locked in there, then they're gonna have to call somebody to get them out.
I might suggest one thought about that.
Yeah.
Someone may have just walked down to do something, left the gate, we're coming back. We probably ought to signal anyone in there.
Okay, so you want me to,
No, I'm not, I'm just making a suggestion,
Okay.
and we can debate this and discuss this, but you certainly wouldn't wanna inconvenience someone and cause an issue if it's just a happenstance. Now, if somebody's leaving the gate open, if the gates are left open, I mean, they may be coming back out, and if we lock the gate, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, just let someone, I would think you'd wanna let someone, I always do that, I ask, if there's someone there, I ask.
well, yeah, okay, now maybe I said it wrong, but I'm talking about people go in and they park,
Right,
and then they come out and they leave the gate open,
right,
okay? And they've opened the gate to get in, and they always tell me that they didn't. There's nobody else around but me and that person are people I'm talking to, you know? So I asked them if they would leave, supposed to lock the gate when they leave, cause I lock it when I leave, whenever after I've talked to them. And that's as far as it goes, generally, you know? But what I'm getting at is, people are just leaving them open, and then if I don't go around that night, after hours, and lock the gates, there's an issue that I wanted to bring up, and the fact is, members have been mentioning to me that if people are going into the parks after midnight, I mean, in the early mornings, and, one of them, you know, they were still worrying about drug issues, and, they know that they're only going in there for 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, they leave the gate open, people come in and you know what's going on, it's not, you know, maybe it's going in and give them a kiss or something, I don't know, you know?
well, all we can do is the best we can do. I mean, we can't put someone 24/7.
No, I know.
But I think, being aware, I've gotten several calls from Mr. Matthews on folks, and
Yeah.
we were standing by ready, and as we're moving forward with our cameras,
Mhm.
I think that's gonna, have a huge impact,
Right,
well, it already has had a huge impact, so we just have to be patient and keep getting these things in place, and, be consistent is the key thing.
I'm constantly hearing people say how good of a job that the board and everybody's doing with this parks thing, you know what I mean? Now, I do get a few people that don't, you know, but that's okay.
Okay, Bill, go ahead with your.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Let's see, garbage at Point Park, where our people are having to pick up other people's garbage down at, on garbage day, cause they won't.
Has that changed at all?
No, it did not change this week. I moved that sign you had made for garbage or whatever, household garbage. I took that sign down so that our people put their garbage right there,
Right.
and they can put theirs wherever they need to, but it still gets dumped over, dogs get into it, they don't put, you know.
So theirs is actually on the other side on, Susan Johnson's property. I came the other day and saw it.
I put it over
Okay, you
there.
put them over there. But are they putting them on where we are?
Yeah, they're putting them back over.
Why don't you and I
on-
just go, why don't you and I go, I know who it is, why don't you and I just go talk to them?
You know, it's just our two ladies that do our cleanup, they're having to pick it up, pick up the garbage and everything, you know what I
Right.
mean? That's not right. We got some new, thanks, John, we got some new grills, we're gonna, before the season starts, we're gonna take care of that. I was able to put some fence boards up at the ranch, so that looks just pretty nice. New toilet at Fishing Park, I haven't noticed if it's been used, I haven't been checking, you know, but It's there.
What was the old toilet like?
Well, it was around trees down at the bottom.
Okay.
It was really rustic.
Okay.
Moving right along. And then when somebody hit that big dang, they had to put a dent in their car, but they hit the big pole, and so I had to hook chain to it with my truck and straighten the best I could, but it's still really hard for if somebody, you know, that doesn't have any real strength, they're not gonna be able to lock it up into the lock position.
This is the second time it's been hit pretty hard, isn't it?
Well, for under me one time,
Okay.
people, I would ask people if they would not mind to turn the fans and lights off on the main gazebo whenever they're done using them. I'll come back at night when it's late and then everything will be on. And, you know, and, let's see.
Is that checklist sign that you can do about there? Checklist sign that says, did you turn the lights off?
You know, you can put signs up everywhere. We can go sign crazy. And, dogs are still in the park, which all I do is tell people that dogs are not allowed in the park. They gotta go to one of the other two parks. You know,
We're gonna address that in
Yeah.
this year, once we get our new board on.
And then in the early morning, people coming in, after midnight, coming in the park. I've had that from a couple members. Bridge Park, bad. Camping Park's bad. But I'm just, and I'll go the next morning or that afternoon, the gate will be unlocked, so.
Okay, Bill, is that?
I'm trying to slow,
Wrap it up, okay?
Hey, I got stopped and asked a couple questions, okay.
Good job, Bill.
Okay, well, thank you, Bill, appreciate the job you're doing. We'll move on to the, maintenance committee, and Tommy Matthews, I think you're gonna present, the projects and, get a priority list established.
Well, I did, y'all saw the paperwork that I sent out, and, I managed to get 12 people to participate, which is, it would've been nice to have more, but I dealt with what I dealt with. And so, I'm gonna pass these out, I've only got 6 of them, but they're just 2 sheets to it, and, if you can kinda share it. This is how the tallies came out on the vote. And what we're voting on was the capital improvements. And what this board would like to spearhead or like to funnel their energy on. And whether we do it or not, it's up to us, but at least to give the chairman an idea of where we wanna be, and then we can go from there. But if you noticed, it was 12 votes, and I had everybody vote for 5. Some people voted for a lot more. Had one person voted for just 1, but I dealt with what I had. And so, number 1 vote was the improve the boat ramp on the Suwannee County side. Remember there's 12 people voting. I managed to get 4 votes on that. Another one that got 4 votes was to complete all the Wi-Fi stuff that we're doing.
Okay.
And then they're scattered to some of the other ones. And then if you look at number 2, and I'll stop after I finish that one because you can figure it out, but, we had, the highest ones was, remodel the pavilion at Hoda Park, 3 votes, complete all the Wi-Fi. No, not that one. Fishing Park. So Fishing Park got 2 votes, and, improvements to Brandon Park got 2 votes. So you can see how people are going, and we don't have to, this is not gospel or anything, but, we can, give you you an idea of,
But the first project you have is, you mentioned the boat ramp at Swanee-side.
that's right.
Right, so we're engaged, with the management district, so on several of these projects. So we're talking with them about, Brennan Park with the pavilion, that's, at the edge of the Santa Fe.
Yeah.
We'll be talking with them about the, boat ramp for the pavilion. I mean, the boat ramp at Swanee, we'll need to get a permit to get that done, so,
Well, this is just giving you information, giving everybody information on how people are feeling. So if we, wanna go in a different direction, it's fine, but, it's up to the board.
okay, so then what we can do then, Tommy, I would think might be a good idea, we've got the information there. Perhaps in January, we get our new board on, why don't we come back and recommend a start on a couple of projects?
And what I would recommend is, if somebody's got the energy to be a chairman of the project, say, I'll take an example, remodel of the pavilion here at Oak Park. One person or two people maybe could be chairman, spearhead it, get some cost involved, bring it to the board decide whether they wanna do it or not do it, and then,
You think maybe somebody that's got building inspector experience?
I just use that as an example. But I was thinking of Sammy.
Sounds like he's volunteering.
Anyway,
Or Mr. Moore over here?
There, we got a
Okay,
few of back there in the back.
so, yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, where would we have found that survey he's talking about? I had never heard anything about asking members about projects, or where would we have found that out to take that?
So where did your survey, how did your survey get circulated, Tommy?
Last meeting.
Last meeting?
No, it's been 2 months ago.
No, it has, but you had them at the last meeting asking anyone.
Well, I was asking to get them back, it was supposed to give them back on a Friday.
Right.
That was my deadline, and the meeting was on the following Tuesday.
Where would we have got it from?
I'm not complaining.
No problem.
Y'all are nice folks, you know.
Okay, so, do you have anything else to add to that?
That's right.
Okay, anything else under maintenance committee? All right, we'll move on then to communications committee.
So we'll cover membership under that.
We
So
always do.
we're wrapping up the year, December, with Columbia, 653 members. Swanee is 222 members. We have a total of 875 members that are totaling out the year of 2022. And we have already been receiving 2023 memberships are coming in. Also, while we're on this, we were talking about the Key Day, that's gonna be the third Saturday in January, that's January 21st. And it's gonna be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. up here like we normally run it.
So there'll be a notice out before.
Yeah, we'll be putting that out.
You've got it on the website also, correct?
Just gotta get on, we just come up with some. Started with it.
Yeah.
It's already there?
No, he's going to send it to,
There you go.
Okay,
Send it to.
send it to.
okay, Vonda, anything else?
Everything went really great with the, Christmas extravaganza in, our Facebook pages, going smoothly, everyone's self-policing, and, cameras, everything's going good.
Yeah, I kinda heard the Christmas extravaganza was probably the best event y'all put on in quite a while.
It was, even the parents were having a good time with, the crafts and, the grandmas, everybody wanted to be pictures of Santa, and the parade, I thought, out to the prior year, I thought was really good. And we had a lot more of the neighbors came out, on the sides of the roads to watch them all go by.
One thing we have plenty of are grandmas around here.
I think remember granddaughter.
Okay.
36 kids.
Okay, so that's all you have,
Yeah.
do we have a Wi-Fi update or anything?
We have to get Windstream to come up to, Point Park to see what we can get out there. And, right now, half my team is on vacation, so they're working remotely.
something that is workable, that's doable?
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
not sure.
Okay. For Point Park?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have to be kinda creative of, you know, having to place the modem and stuff for flooding and things like
Sure.
that, obviously, so it's gonna take some kind of creative, but yeah, very doable.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Vonda. Do we have any new business?
Can I ask something about communications real quick?
Sure.
On some of the parks that we have, some issues, what's your idea or your thoughts about putting up some, game, what do they call them, game cameras or something? So that we can see, people are asking me, and then I don't have any clue the park, cause there's no camera there, you know what I mean?
That is something we could do in
I'm in the process of rolling on cameras to all the parks, so, I mean, you could spend the money on it, or you could be patient until I.
We're
get
almost
it.
there.
Okay, that's fine, I'm just asking.
I really don't wanna spend triple money on something if we're gonna be replacing it with something more permanent anyway.
Well, I've got two that were donated.
Oh, in that case, use them.
Yeah, I don't know how to use them.
Help yourself out, Mr. Park Manager.
I have no problem with them being set up, do you?
No.
Anybody?
Okay, any other new business?
On those, is it just you gotta go pull the card out of it to do it, or do you have to get a cell phone
Well, that's,
network?
they come with a card, and they also say they're Verizon.
Okay. I mean,
I
I don't
mean-
know, that's why I was wondering if we wanted to go through with that and pay for a Verizon, it's usually like, I have a bunch of them up in my property, and
Right.
they're about $10 to $12 a month, they're not, it's cheap to put.
I hope you're shooting out a deer then.
I ain't telling nobody.
Tell them where they're at.
I got bears fighting each
Oh,
other.
okay.
But anyway,
Well, that's where I'm stuck at, I've never used one.
yeah,
I got two brand new ones, that somebody donated to me, and,
but I mean, it's up to y'all, do we need to
I'm-
discuss that if we want to?
I think Charlie made a suggestion that, he's moving forward with the equipment, so.
Yeah, I mean, how soon are we gonna have?
First quarter, probably.
Probably. I mean, we're rolling them out pretty quick,
Okay,
so.
no big.
Okay, any other new business, any old business we need to discuss?
I missed that. What is it that are going to be rolled out pretty quickly?
The-
The permanent
We're
cameras.
moving through the rest of the parks.
The cameras.
Cameras are being installed,
Nothing new, same
part
thing.
by part.
Okay.
Okay, we will, not having any old business, before us, we will actually ask if there are any comments from the, yes, ma'am,
Did bills go out for the keys?
not yet.
Well, we just got confirmation we have keys. We've been hanging on that.
The keys have been ordered for what, how long, about 3 months? And, we weren't sure, so we really couldn't send anything out.
When the key went, are we gonna send the bill out, or are we expecting everybody to go online and pay?
It's gonna go out. Yeah, I do go, I mean, you feel free to go online and do it, but there will be.
There will be a paper bill.
Yes, there will be.
Okay, so with the late fees, y'all are really sending the bills out late, so we really need to cover the
But the
problem
late fee's
Terry's
always been
having.
in place. It's the same late fee that's been in place. It's just, we just increased it.
increase the.
But it's the same time frame. Nothing's changed there. It's the same time frame that it has been. We haven't moved anything on dates.
Okay, and just to note, I have a problem with my keys being a privilege. I pay my dues, I get my keys, it's for the parks, so I don't consider that a privilege. But Terry, I do need to get with you about my key this year.
I had one thing to say.
Sure.
My name's Derek Moore, I've been here for 19 years, and I'm an avid boater, and I feel like I'm a quite responsible boater. I'm sure there's a lot out there that's not like me, but I love to take my boat up the Itchtuttony River when there's no traffic. I don't go up there when there's a bunch of floaters on a Saturday afternoon. But that's one of the things I dearly love about this place, is being able to putt-putt up that river and just hang out on it. I didn't think it was our board's place to take a vote on whether or not to ban boats on the Itchtuttony River. I think the board's job's the parks and property in our neighborhood. I just totally disagree with that, so.
I think that, we just, it was a consensus vote, right? It wasn't that we were.
That doesn't represent my views, I just.
Well, I voted against it.
I noticed that. But,
There's a
Yeah,
lot
Justin.
of them that it doesn't represent.
but, hey, I've been out there, I float the river too, and there are a bunch of dummies out there, I've seen them almost back into people with their prop, and I don't know what's the answer, but making it where I can't take my boat up the river, I just don't like that.
Well, we're not gonna take that away from you here, I'll assure you that.
To touch on that, the board voted to support the group that's trying to limit the boat traffic is what they did. They didn't vote on any kind of banning boats.
Well, I heard ban motorized boats is what I heard.
Well, they voted to support the group that's trying to do that, I think is what the board.
Hopefully we will hopefully we will be able to have no wake and more responsible. It's gonna take.
Well, it's been no wake the whole time.
It's not either.
Well, there used to be big signs there.
That's correct, but that wasn't.
And they won't replace them.
Right, they won't.
Well, I'd rather get out there myself and replace the
They
sign.
won't let us, we tried, we threatened
Yes,
the
John.
same.
In speaking about the Itchnatucky River, I also, in floating, have seen clearing right down to the water edge. And if we're going to be having nice green grass at the water edge, where's all that going? The boats are not the only problem. There are other problems. You're not supposed to clear any vegetation within 75 feet of that water line. Try floating down and check how many houses have cleared to the water line. And they're fertilizing. Now, that's another thing to look at.
I appreciate
The other
that.
thing
This-
is
this-
septic
there's not
tanks,
much this board
excuse
can-
me,
There's not much this board can do
septic
that.
tanks on the river. When were they last checked?
That's the county, and
No,
the state
that's
department.
us too, because we're thinking about the Itchnatucky River.
Right, we're all for, preserving, the quality of the water in the Itchtuttony. All of us are. We're all for not tearing up the vegetation in the Itchtuttony. We don't handle the DEP through, the
But we're
county does the
handling-
septic tanks.
We are handling what's going on in the community by the key restrictions and everything else. But we're overlooking some of the very valid things that we need to look at also.
Right,
And that is one of them, is who's doing what close to that river.
that's,
if
we
you
don't
look
have
at all
the
the-
jurisdiction for that.
These
so-
people that mow,
Yeah.
all the people that are doing the mowing, are they aware they're not supposed to be within 75 feet of that water?
I can't-
Would be nice to maybe put it in the newsletter.
Okay, John,
Mr.
thank you for your comments. There's someone behind you. Go ahead.
So, if we're charging a mandatory $150 and we're having to stop letters and we're charging them $150 for 2 years, and we're not giving them keys, y'all are gonna have a class action lawsuit, mark my word, that you're not giving the benefits, but you're receiving the money. So put that out there.
Okay.
Who said you weren't getting keys?
Who said that?
Do you send everybody
I'm supposedly
keys?
not getting a key.
Do you send everybody keys that owns properties out here, that are members, that you're gonna put a lien on their property if they sell it?
We don't put liens on property.
Ms. Moore, go ahead.
You put a stop letter, which
Okay.
is a precursor.
This bill that we're gonna send out,
Yes.
could we maybe put something on that with Tommy's list so he can get a vote maybe from the members, just to say we're gonna have a online vote? Can we do that, Charlie? Click anything, yes or no?
Which list is that?
Tommy's, what's important to us fixing first?
Yeah, I didn't even-
Because the things that y'all voted on,
We can.
We can
you
do
know,
it.
I don't know about Swan County
We can do a
Park, but I
poll
know
online. We can do a poll
Sure,
online.
I'll put a
Sure.
poll on
that'd be
that.
great.
We could take our top 5.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll save the print and put it on the line.
How is my membership removed on, the police report says this is totally unfounded. So how do you remove my membership and not let me buy a key when the police report says all of this is unfounded? And you're saying all these things about me online, on YouTube, in the meetings that are all unfounded. I was called a streetwalker?
Okay, so we will, is there any, you have anything else? Okay. Anything else? Any other person wants to speak?
Well, I guess you'll
Yeah.
hear from
Okay,
my.
James.
Wait, I need to get the name of the few people that have given us suggestions. The one on the voting, can I get your name?
Derek Moore.
M-O-O-R-A?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And the request for a list online,
Jackie Moore.
Jackie Moore? All right, thank you.
They came as a package tonight.
Yes, we always do.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, well, I guess okay, James, I'm sorry, go ahead, James.
Well, I was wondering, I know we've had some of the issues with this, the enforcement. What I'm kind of questioning is if we were to request something from the officer that responds to the call, because there's gonna be, he's assigned, it's gonna be all documented. We can, the department I work for, you can make a request for a report. You can say, we want this person removed. You basically need to say that they're trespassed until things are cleared up. And I don't understand why a report would not include that, not saying that they're gonna support anything else, but the board here has the right to have an individual that can have somebody for due cause trespass.
Right.
I work as a security officer at a hospital. I can have people trespass. If they create a scene, if they're there not doing what they're supposed to be, they'll be trespassing. They don't have to commit a crime. But they have, if they create a scene or they are inappropriate, they will be trespassed. And it's rather simple.
We tried very hard, but that system broke down, that day. We're working to correct that, and matter of fact, they need documentation, they'll have the documentation, they need.
So I just was requesting that, maybe we can start asking for more reports.
Yes.
When you start making them
Sure.
generate a report, well, now you have more evidence that there was an officer there, what time he was there, that it was taken.
Good point.
And I hate to say one more thing about the keys. A driver's license is a privilege. You don't have the right to, to hold your driver's license and drive a car. It's a privilege. And it has the same thing to do with these keys. You have the right to purchase the keys, but I don't understand why somebody would think that there is not some sort of inappropriate behavior that would cause them not to be able to stay at the park. Again, when I was trying to find a place for this little dog we found, there's another young family will not go to the park because of the behavior that happens at the park. They hadn't heard that it's starting to get better. And so it's like, we have people paying their dues that will not go to the park because of
That's
the
right.
reputation that people have going down there with alcohol and the language, just turning their radios up till they think they're loud enough. There is such a thing as inappropriate behavior, and I do think that's the board's job, is to enforce that.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, we have one last comment over here. Yes,
One more thing, the Florida statute 720.311 very clearly states that any dispute between a association and a property owner has to be filed with the state of Tallahassee. That's why you're not having cooperation with the sheriff's office, and that's what Mr. Watson, I wish he was here, could also help y'all clarify, is that you're not doing it the right way. You have to file with the DVPR to have their membership removed, and then they'll hear that case. That's their jurisdiction. That's the problem y'all are having. If y'all would do it that way,
I
I bet
disagree,
you'd
but
have better luck.
because I believe that we have first and foremost safety. We make those decisions based on the association.
So the Florida
Responsibility for the
statutes
parks.
trump anything that anybody makes in the whole entire state, even cities, okay? Do you want me to read from where it says this?
Okay, you made your point, and we heard your statute, so thank you for that. Yes, John, the last one.
If we don't do things legally, we are putting ourselves out. I own property. I don't wanna have this board be putting things out that are not legal. The sheriff, Mr. Watkins said at the meeting, he could not arrest Debbie G. Because there were no grounds, because
Right.
we didn't do it properly
Right.
and legally.
Uh-huh.
We need to get back to doing it right.
I think we did do it
We need
properly
an
and
agenda
legally, Joan, so.
at least 10 to 14 days before a meeting. We
Yeah.
need to start that
Yeah.
because we don't have a
We're
lake to
talking
stand
about,
on in a
we're
big
talking about
loss.
the conduct in the park, so we're good.
You're gonna
Anything,
end up
anybody
in
else for the
trouble.
comments? Motion to adjourn, second? Yes, second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.